right, so we're looking at the second half of the prehistory notes. This is part two. We're going to start with a little wrap here. Archaeologists are people who study artifacts of the past civilizations, Imagine you're an archaeologist on a dig in the year 4199. You've found the following things: a compact disc or a CD. Now, a lot of you might not know what a CD is. CD was used to listen to music and things like that back in the day, and some of them you know used to could save stuff from a computer on CDs and things like that. But you would listen to music, and this has really become a thing of the past now because even cars that are manufactured today don't have compact disc in them anymore. Okay. But an iPhone, and you know what an iPhone is, a car tire, fast food container. Now, you're living in the year 4199. So, you know, this is roughly 2,000 plus years into the future. So you have no idea how these things were used in the past. Make up some possible explanations. Try to do one for each item and just write it on your rap sheet, okay? You know, just, it doesn't have to be anything serious. You could, you know, maybe in 2,000 years we'll have fast food restaurants still. Maybe they'll still have cars. Maybe they'll be flying around instead of using cars. So you just don't know what the future is going to be like. Try to make up something. Be creative with this rap right here. Okay. And you use your rap sheets just to answer it. Just jot down something like put compact disc or CD and this is it, that sort of thing. Central understandings. Archaeologists continue to find and interpret evidence of early humans in their lives. Remember, we're talking about prehistory, the time before writing was developed. Okay, so when you look at that, you're looking at, hey, we don't know because no one has written it down. So we're going to look at the things that they used in their daily lives. We're going to look at artifacts. We're going to study these things and try to, you know, figure out how they lived and what they did during this time period. Okay. How does archaeology provide knowledge of early human life and its changes? Well, archaeologists do study, you know, the past by looking at certain things. So let's look at what an archaeologist actually does. Archaeologists study past cultures by locating and analyzing human remains, settlements, fossils, and artifacts. Artifact is anything created by human hands that they might find. So let's say they are, you know, on an excavation site and they're digging and they find a bowl that was made out of a tree or something like that. Or maybe they found some type of pottery. All right, they can tell that early humans used that pottery to maybe store grain during the Neolithic age, or they can find, you know, a small axe that was used by a Paleolithic man to, you know, sort of cut down a tree or something like that. Okay, very basic tool for Paleolithic man. All right, and they look at fossils and they can determine exactly how, you know, what type of diet early humans have. A lot of the fossils that they look at are fossilized, you know, turds or poop. They can look at that and determine what early man ate. We talked about what early man, especially early Paleolithic man, who were hunter-gatherers, their diets would probably consist of a lot of meat and then stuff that grows very close to them that they could eat, you know, nuts, berries, fruits, things like that. Archaeologists apply scientific tests such as carbon dating to analyze fossils and artifacts. Carbon dating can measure the, you know, the age of any living sort of thing because it contains carbon. All living things contain carbon. We are carbon-based life forms. We contain carbon, and plants and other animals also contain carbon. So Carbon dating is used to analyze fossils and artifacts. Stonehenge is an example of an archaeological site in England that was begun during the Neolithic Age and completed during the Bronze Age. Okay. Stonehenge is probably one of the most fascinating, interesting sites located in England. And I just find it fascinating because there's a lot of questions about how they did it. Stonehenge, huge monolithic, megalithic sort of structure in which huge stones that weigh tons are placed on top of other huge stones that weigh tons. Remember, this was completed really at the dawn of civilization. You're looking at the Neolithic Age all the way to the Bronze Age, okay, where people were still very, very primitive. So the question is how and why they did this. One of the videos that I have on the Canvas page that I really want you guys to check out is the Ancient Aliens video. There's a lot of speculation of how they got these stones up there, what type of engineering skills they would have during that time period. Remember, algebra and stuff like that, geometry really didn't exist in its pure form. So how did they do it? Why did they do it? It's a big sort of mystery. I think it's one of the most fascinating places in the world. And look, I'm not saying aliens built this, but it's just, it's interesting sort of perspective to look at that Ancient Alien video and really get a good idea of what Stonehenge really, was really all about. So make sure you check out that video. It's a good video, and tell me if you get a chance on your rap sheet, just tell me, what do you think about Stonehenge? Why do you think they built it, and why do you think the very primitive people had the ability to do such a great engineering feat? You look at the top, that's what it looks like today, and then the bottom right picture is what it looks like today. The bottom left picture is probably what it looked like, when it was completed and in its perfect intact form. Okay, so just make sure you understand that picture isn't what it looks like today because things have happened to it. You can see some of the stones have fallen, but that's probably what it looked like on the left there. All right, things that you have to know. All you have to know is the cities of Aleppo and Jericho are examples of early cities in the Fertile Crescent studied by archaeologists. It's interesting because these are two of the oldest cities in the world, and when you look at them on the map, it's real interesting as well because we haven't talked about the Fertile Crescent yet, but you can see the Fertile Crescent is a moon-shaped sort of very fertile area where people could grow lots of food, and we'll talk about the earliest settlements that formed around rivers, and there you see the river that would be the Tigris and Euphrates. But we're going to talk about that later. I don't want to get too far ahead of things, but I want you to know Aleppo and Jericho. All you have to know for the test or quiz are examples of early cities in the Fertile Crescent studied by archaeologists. Okay. Catalhuyuk is an example of a Neolithic settlement currently under excavation in what we call Anatolia, which is now Asia Minor. All right, now on the map, I know it might be a little bit little or small, but knowing where these things are at will help you out a lot. So the first one we have here with the diamond-shaped sort of red area is Aleppo. Major trading area, has constantly been inhabited for over 4,000 years. Okay. Then you have Jericho down here at the bottom, close to modern day Israel. One of the oldest cities in the world. Remains date back to 8,000 BC. Okay, that is roughly 10,000 years ago. Right. City is, if Old Testament sort of biblical stories, city is believed to have been defeated by the Israelites after crossing the Jordan River. So one of the big things about this is when you look at Jericho, And I always think about the pro wrestler. I'm not a big pro wrestling fan, but there's a guy named Chris Jericho, and his finishing move, or whatever you call it, is the walls of Jericho. And Jericho is known for having walls built to protect it, but eventually, according to the biblical story, the walls came down and the Israelites were able to sort of take over that area in Jericho. And then finally, we have Catalhuic existed from about 7,500 to 5,700 BC, largest and best preserved Neolithic site found to date. Major trading area, and if you look at this, when I've added a video of this site. I want you to look at this video and kind of in your mind imagine living during this time period and how it was. To us it's very primitive, but back then this was, probably one of the first settlements that we look at that you just go, wow, it's pretty elaborate. People lived, no longer hunter-gatherers, so they're living in what you can own. And if you look at the picture here, it looks like they're living in sort of mud type huts, but it's a very elaborate sort of system for primitive people. All right, what am I? I'm a test used by scientists to determine how old fossil remains are. Okay, and I hope everyone in their minds are saying that is carbon dating, radiocarbon dating. I'm a person who studies fossils and artifacts so we can better understand cultures of the past. That would be your archaeologists. I'm the place archaeologists dig to uncover fossils and artifacts. General term, this is the excavation site. I'm a famous city whose history was recorded in the Bible. Biblical story of the walls of Jericho. I'm famous for huge stones I am made of. Each stone weighs several tons and are arranged in a circle. Stonehenge. And you got to be able to identify the picture of that for the test and just know that it's a site in England. I'm a city that still exists today, and I have been and lived in for over 4,000 years. That would be Aleppo. Once again, you only have to know Aleppo and Jericho, two early cities located in the Fertile Crescent. I'm famous for massive walls that surrounded me, and the Bible is recorded that my walls fell as the Hebrew people conquered me. That would be the walls of Jericho. I'm a famous Neolithic farming village in Turkey, Catalhuic. I'm still being excavated today. Many artifacts of obsidian are found near me. I'm famous for being an ancient stop along major trade routes. Okay, and we said major trade routes run through Aleppo. People believe I was probably used as a calendar or for some religious purpose. Once again, mystery here. We don't really know what Stonehenge was used for. Okay. All right, wrap. Write one sentence per letter for the world prehistory. Your sentences should relate to something we have discussed in this unit. I'll give you a great example. So the P, okay, P in prehistory. You could put Paleolithic era, okay, and then put the things that you feel like you learned about the Paleolithic era. On this one, you can just do this for extra credit. I'm not going to count this one. If you want to do this, you can. You don't have to do this. I'm not going to hold this one to you, but you can for me. Extra credit there. All right, so test review. All right. From where does man originate? If you look there, we're looking at 100,000 to 400,000 years ago. The continent of Africa is where scientific evidence says that human beings originated from. and they began around 100,000 years ago to move out of Africa into other areas. This is a great chart right here that really talks about, if you look at this chart, it's really going to help you study for the quiz or test because it kind of lays everything out for you. Stonehenge, where was it? It's located in England. Approximately when did it exist? Started in the Neolithic era and finished in the Bronze Age. What's the big deal? Not sure how it was made. Probably served as a calendar or a religious site. Very mysterious. Once again, watch that video and see what you think. Aleppo, located in the Fertile Crescent. That's really what you have to know. 4,000 years ago to 2,000 years to the present when it existed. If you look at some of the videos on YouTube, it talks about the battle for Aleppo, Syria, and all that stuff. I won't go into that too much, but it still exists today. What's the big deal? Trading city, right, located around the trade routes there in the Fertile Crescent. Jericho, where was it? Fertile Crescent. How long ago? When did it exist? Possibly 8,000 years ago, making it like the world's oldest, city. Best known for its defensive walls and the walls of Jericho, and defeated by the Israelites. Catalhuac, all right, modern day Turkey, but it was called Anatolia. On the test, it's going to say Anatolia. Okay. Neolithic era is when it existed. Oldest and best preserved Neolithic settlement found to date. If you watch that video, you'll see what it looks like. There's a couple of good videos. One's a little bit longer, one's shorter, but you can watch what you want off of those videos. They're both very, very good. All right, vocabulary words. What you want to do is you want to match your vocabulary words with the definition on there, and that's going to end this pretty much prehistory part. We're going to look next at River Valley civilizations for Monday, and possibly have a little quizzes on Monday. Now, one thing about the quizzes I want y'all to understand is it's tough for me to put the quizzes in like real early because I put them in as homework. You can do them at your leisure, but then there's a date in which they were in. So I usually put those quizzes up the day of or the day before, and then you can take that quiz based on these notes. I have a quizzes for the last one, the last prehistory test that we have, or excuse me, the last set of notes that we have. So if you can do that, you can take it a few times if you would like. Just try to do your best on those, and really, odds are I'm probably going to have our test on quizzes, but I haven't decided that yet if I can use the other thing. If you guys are familiar, I want to make it easy on you, so just remember that. But yeah, on your RAPS sheet, you can just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then put the correct answer in. You don't have to write down everything on here. Just make sure you know which one is which. All right, that's it. Thanks.